got my shirt, by the way.
Hey, what a great start.
Yeah.
Renew. Save. Yeah. All right, Evan, we're here. We're back. It's episode number 134 of My Cup of Tea.
Yeah, 134. We are live. I'm very pleased with what we're gonna be talking about this week here, Nathan. I think this was two of the arguably best episodes of both the Penguin, definitely of the Penguin. For Agatha, it had that, classic. I tweeted about it, the classic Disney Plus thing, where it's like the episode for the majority of it is solid stuff. But then the ending is like, oh my gosh, this is what everyone's gonna be talking about. Like they cram shit at the ending, give us a cliffhanger. People are like, yeah, we're gonna wait till next week, and the next week happens, and then it's like a fine episode or whatever. But like Disney Plus loves their cliffhangers, and I talk about this all the time. I'm like, or you could just make a good overall episode. But not to say this episode was bad overall. Having watched the episode and watched some recaps on YouTube. I'm like, okay, I think I liked a lot of the Agatha's trial aspect, but yeah, I just wish some episodes like Penguin, we talk about like is consistently good throughout every minute of the episode. But anyways, so we got that to talk about. I think we start off here with this Venom stuff, because we spent the whole beginning part of our theory crafting last week talking about, or last 2 weeks, talking about like what could be the rumored plot line for Spider-Man 4. Are they going the Venom multiple symbiotes route? They're bringing back Andrew and Toby, and we have some updates. And I think I was wrong, which is par for the course.
I told you.
But so last week, the main thing was that a lot of the rumors, take it with a grain of salt and pepper. A lot of the rumors are coming out talking about like how Spider-Man 4 will be symbiote focused with the possibility of bringing back Andrew and Toby. But most of the rumors are definitely in alignment about the symbiote aspect, for sure. And I said, okay, even if it is symbiote, it seems weird that they'll be facing symbiotes when we're getting that already with Venom 3 facing off against multiple symbiotes as well. Symbiotes. I'm kidding.
We don't say that.
I know.
We don't do that here.
We don't do that here. In this country, we say symbiotes. But yeah, so I said like it seems like the Knull character will be the villain in Venom 3, and I don't know if they're just gonna have him continue on in other films. It seems like okay, this is the last Venom movie, so they're gonna kill off the last Venom villain. But it says here from the director and co-writer Kelly Marcel, who's again has wrote the other two movies, and this is her first time directing. I don't know if it's first time being a first time director, but it's definitely her first time in the franchise.
I think she might be.
I think so too. Yeah,
but she's been on the franchise though. She's I think she was a writer on the other two.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I just said. So she said one movie can never do justice to Knull. So they said they don't expect him to be the main antagonist of this. Let me see here. Venom Last Dance brings Knull to the big screen, but don't expect him to be the main antagonist of this trilogy capper. One movie can never do justice to Knull. IGN heard in email. She says, this is just the beginning for Knull. We were always aware of Knull, but knew that we needed to lay the foundation of the Venom character, his relationship with Eddie, before introducing him being Knull. Again, this is just the beginning of the character for Knull. We are in spoiler territory now, and we hope some of the fun of watching this movie is not knowing what will happen. But trust me, we know full well how important Knull is to the fans. Nobody gives a shit about Knull.
I care.
So just have me lay the foundation.
I care.
I didn't know who this guy was before I was like familiarizing myself with this franchise. With the franchise. Like I heard about him when they were doing during like Venom 2 YouTube videos, like going over Carnage, because then in the Venom 2 trailers they introduced Carnage and they were like the Shriek or character or whatever. When I was doing research for that, I came across like the Knull character from the comics. I'm not a big Venom character in the Venom reader of the comics. But anyways, Just we know full well how important Knull is to the fans. Just as we laid the foundation for Venom, we hope we are doing the same for Knull. The King in Black is way too powerful for one and done. Again, this film introduces Knull, but it just touches the beginnings of his story. Marvel's greatest villains are developed over time. Here, Knull is a threat lurking behind the danger that tests the absolute limits of Eddie and Venom's partnership. But it's their relationship that remains the heart of this story. For those that like this franchise.
He doesn't say that.
It doesn't say that? Oh, you're right. Maybe that's just me.
Journalistic integrity.
What are you talking about? It's right here. It's in the article.
Oh yeah, that bright ass screen. That bullshit I see in the theater when I'm 15 minutes into the movie, walking by, like, oh, I gotta go find my seat. That's all.
I hate this zoom. I was like, what are you doing? I want to tackle them to the ground and shove a phone up their butthole. Anyways.
And they're coming to sit right next to you, like, I can't think we're right here.
Oh, did I tell you, quick sidebar, I went to go see the anime movie Look Back. Director or writer of Chainsaw Man. This was his first like one-shot comic before he developed Chainsaw Man. Packed house. Like I tried going Sunday, sold out. Monday, nearly sold out. I got one of the last two seats for Jalen and I. We were running late. We get there, movie's already starting. I turned the corner to go up the aisle, two seats, one of them's taken. And I'm like, my seat says D6 and D5. I go there, D5's available, but D6 or vice versa. And the whole row is like taken. Besides, like it's like one seat open, rest of the row taken. And I'm like, how did that happen? My two seats should be right here on the edge.
Well, they're reserved, so they're yours.
Yeah, exactly. And then I was like, I think you're in the wrong seat. And he goes like, no, I'm D5 and I'm D5 and 4. The other guy said whatever. And I'm like, nah, that's definitely not true. I'm not gonna argue with them. The movie's starting already. It's it's Japanese, so people are reading subtitles. So I'm like, I want to lock in already quickly. But luckily, the row above us had also the same instance where it was just one seat, rest of the row filled. So I had Jalen sit above me and I sit on the corner. So we both sat in like the two corners. So it was fine. But I was just like, what?
Kind of a bummer.
Yeah. I was like, I'm not going to argue with you because, again, the whole row would have to. I don't know how it happened. I just think one of them was just definitely in like the wrong seat, but the entire row was filled. I'm like, that makes no sense. Usually, when somebody's in the wrong seat, there's usually like a gap because somebody's like sitting in a different area than they're supposed to. It's like usually like, oh, just scoot over one, but I couldn't really do that because, again, the whole row was filled. So it was weird. I didn't argue. I'm like, fuck it. But again, I buy these seats, pre-saved, and everybody does. It's 2024. So again, somebody was just probably definitely in the wrong seat, and they thought we wouldn't get there in time or whatever.
That happened to my Transformers 1 showing. I was like, I got like my favorite seat that I always get in my IMAX theater,
which is
F12.
F12. That's like top right.
No, it's center. It's like, of like the three subsections, it's the back of the second section, so it's like a nice
second
full screen. Yeah. But you're not
So is there a row behind you?
Yeah, there's just the majority of the theater behind me.
Oh, okay, wow.
There's still plenty in front of me as well. There's
I know where I get it now. I get it now. Yeah, usually I'm like in the IMAX theater, I'm like L or M at my theater.
They're different sizes,
Yeah, I'm towards the back.
But like, there's not a lot of people on that Transformers 1 before the hype guys doing his marketing. Yeah, so I'm like going, I'm like, because I'm watching other movies, so I'm like, I'm coming in like right as this one's getting ready to start the trailers, and I see a couple sitting there, older couple, and I'm like, what? Oh, okay. So, and if I were to sit down, I would be like right next to them, and I was like, I want to do it.
I don't want to do it. Yeah.
But then also, I frequently check the seating of the theater just to see like how many people are going to be at the showing, and I'm seeing, and I'm just like, okay, there's nobody else that's supposed to be in my row. As a matter of fact, the like one instance of two people sitting together was supposed to be in like the back left of the theater, and they just didn't, and they just sat there, and I'm just like, fine, goddamn.
Yeah, probably the case where they booked their seats, they get into the theater and they're like, oh wow, this is bigger than we thought. We don't want to sit in the back. Let's sit up closer. And then they just ended up sitting in your row. Yeah. I went to a new theater this weekend as well to go see Saturday Night, and I was like, I was looking at the seating arrangement. I was like, I can't tell if I want to sit in the back. I can't tell if that's far away from the theater or not. The guy was like, oh, just sit in the middle a little bit. You know, you don't want to sit in the back so you can see the whole theater. I get in, it's like a super small theater, but I could just sit in the back. Now I'm looking like this a little bit. Anyway, that is BS. So yeah, what are your thoughts overall about this Venom stuff here? Knull is not going to be dead and gone in Venom 3.
I told you.
Yeah. That's
anyway.
it. You just told me.
Yeah, that's it. I got into most of it last time. I was like, yeah, I could see him being the big old threat for big Spider-Man multiverse stuff.
Yes, interesting. So if they are talking about him laying the foundation for Venom, for Knull, I want to continue my worry. It gets me worried. We know I wouldn't have a problem with this if this is not the end of the Venom franchise. On one hand, I'm happy this is the end of the Venom franchise. I don't like these movies that much. I see them once in theaters and I'm out, and then I see them again on commentary. But then that'd be it. I don't like, let me Saturday night, let me put on Venom 1 or Venom 2. Never going to happen. But sorry, Andy Serkis. But what's it called? But it's the end of the Venom franchise. So we're getting the beginning of Knull. Thus, where would Knull continue? I guess the illusion here is Spider-Man 4. That's the next thing coming out in 2026. And again, I'm not too happy about another Spider-Man villain. And this one we didn't talk so much about last week. Just the fact that if Knull and multiple symbiotes are going to be the villains of Spider-Man 4, it's once again a character not within the MCU fighting our MCU Peter Parker. It's just like,
does that happen a lot?
Yes, right? Or at least not in the MCU, but it happened in, of course, No Way Home. But it's another instance of characters not being connected to Peter Parker, being upset at Peter Parker. It's like Venom or Spider-Man 1, he's an Iron Man villain who's upset at Peter Parker because he keeps getting in his way. Yeah. Spider-Man 2 is Iron Man, Spider-Man Far From Home. Barf, he's a ex-employee of Tony. Fucking Gyllenhaal. Mysterio, whatever. And he's upset at Peter Parker because he was getting in his way. He's more so upset at Iron Man and the legacy of that. And then Spider-Man 3 comes around and it's just Electro, Green Goblin, Arms guy. I'm kidding, Octopus. I'm kidding, Octopus. Doc Ock. And he's upset at Peter Parker, but the other Peter Parkers, and then our Peter Parker is just in their way. It's like, can we have somebody who's directly connected to our Peter Parker, who has an issue with our Tom Holland's character? Like, what's going on here? Like, is this crazy? Am I going crazy, guys? Like, what's happening? Just have a character that is directly opposed to our main hero, not some multiverse character who's then like, okay, now I'm after all the Spider-Mans or Spider-Man Far From Home. Now I'm after all the Spider-Mans. You guys got in my way. It's like No Way Home. It kind of worked out, but it kind of did bug me. I'm just watching this. I'm like, Green Goblin is not really effing with Peter because he's just Spider-Man. It's not that he's Peter Parker. It's like, it really bugged me. Then of course we already talked. Luckily, the best instance was just Homecoming, because he was the father of Liz Allen, and like that reveal at the end of the movie went full circle. The girl I have a crush on, oh shit, she's a daughter of this villain that I've been tangling with. And then in Far From Home, even though I don't like that movie that much, Gyllenhaal and Peter have a fun dynamic prior to like the bait and switch, like, oh, he's actually the villain, which we all knew. But like Peter didn't. And that dynamic actually kind of worked, even though the story of it all is pretty messy. But overall, yeah, I'm just like, damn. Again, I wish I want to go with the Kingpin route. We're not getting that, I know, but I'll let.
Which in fairness, there is like he has no history with him either.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. But he could, right? Because now he's a street level villain. He could be like it's a character within the universe. He's a street level hero, going against a street level villain We already saw Daredevil in No Way Home. The seeds are planted there. But we're going the multiversal route. We're going the stuff route, which is the seeds haven't even been planted for that. I'm not counting that bullshit post-credit scene that was then reverted in Venom 2 or No Way Home, whatever it was. So yeah, that's it. That's Knull. Do we know who's playing Knull, by the way?
Sorry. No one knows for sure. A lot of people are convinced Norman Reedus is playing him, but nothing's been confirmed.
Norman Reedus, that'll be fun. I heard.
I did hear another name floating.
I'm blinking. Andy Serkis. I heard Andy Serkis might be coming back. He likes doing mocap and villains.
He's just a guy. You can see him in the trailer. He's just a guy.
I mean, just a guy. Yeah, it could be Timothy Chalamet.
Apparently, there's been like 3 names going around. People are like, "Can you just pick one?" Who is this guy? It's also weird. Like, there's no reason to hide it. We can just know who's playing him.
Nobody cares. I'm saying, like, just say it's fucking Norman. It's like nobody can turn to theater. Like, oh, who's this white-haired symbiote character?
I will say though, it is nice to like that they're going to be taking a Sony standalone property and actually going to like attach it to Spider-Man, like officially, finally. That's nice.
True. Yeah, people have been asking about that since the 2018, 2017 when this movie was announced. Like, will Peter Parker appear? It's crazy that this Venom character was introduced along the same time as our Peter Parker, right? Like, Venom as a movie was announced like 2016, 2017. It didn't come out until like 2018. But like, we first got our Peter Parker in 2016. His first movie came out in 2017. So these characters have been closely aligned since the inception in terms of announcements and production. So now Venom 3 movies in, they never interacted. And yeah, we'll see what happens. I think also that was released so far the past week was that Venom 3 will only be 90 minutes, like an hour and 32 minutes, I think. It's not going past an hour and 40, which
let me confirm it
for me.
Because tickets are on sale, so we'll know.
Go ahead and confirm it. Yeah, I believe it's like 90 minutes.
240.
God, I would not go see this movie.
Yes, yes, you would.
I would. I'm not.
You're gonna get tricked to go to a screen unseen. Damn it.
Yeah.
It's an hour 49.
Oh, hour 49.
Yeah.
Damn it. Maybe 19 minutes of post credit scene. Just 19 minutes of like Morbius flying around.
You're fine. You'll be fine.
I was really hoping for a 90-minute Venom movie.
I do wonder what the fuck's gonna pop up. I think there is 2 post credits.
Yeah, but hour 40 is still under 2 hours. That's doable for me. I won't fall asleep.
That being said, even though like the word on the street is this is Tom Hardy's last time, I don't think Eddie's gonna die. I think he'll probably come back.
You don't think Venom's good? But the trailers, Nathan, they say like this is our last ride. Oh my gosh, he's on the airplane. He's like bleeding out. Like, what's gonna happen?
I'll put you to the end.
Fuck off.
Eddie.
Venom's not dying. Eddie's not dying. Everybody else
say no to working with other Tom.
No, Tom's having fun doing this. What else is he doing lately? Inception 2. I'm kidding.
I'd watch it.
Me too. Nolan would never.
Is he allowed to make that outside of WB?
Great question. Yeah, who has the rights to that? Nolan himself or the studio? Probably the studio. Anyways, they'd love to get Nolan back, but they fucked up. Yeah. So yeah, that's our Knull stuff. Don't want to spend too long on that because nothing else to talk about there. But again, all signs are just what?
But isn't there? We can go for hours.
We could. I can bullshit.
How does Madam Web factor?
Yes.
Are they ever coming back?
Is Dakota Johnson coming back? I wouldn't mind. I love Dakota, but now she's blind. Not that being blind is bad. It's like, what is she gonna do now? That was weird.
She's the clairvoyant motherfucker.
Kind of. I just.
All Madam Web does is sit there. She just spouts wisdom and sends you through a portal.
Yeah.
I will say though, like I think Madam Web has become so infamous that if a project were to like have her pop up in it, people would be like, "Oh fuck." Fucking Mrs. Chen was in Across the Spider-Verse. Anything's possible.
Yeah, good point. I wouldn't mind like Isabella Mersad, coming back. I forget the other ones, Sydney Sweeney, and the other one. Like I wouldn't mind them coming back. Again, they weren't bad in the movie. Okay, yeah, they were like the characters were bad. The acting wasn't
They
bad.
tried.
Dakota was just really just out of it. The kids were just
There was an amazing clip going around on Twitter where like this dude was watching and he was like, Dakota won't open the Pepsi can that she got handed. And it's just like 2 straight minutes where she's just like going through the scenes and she's holding this can of Pepsi, like about to open it and doesn't open it. And she keeps like fiddling with it and she doesn't open it.
So weird.
What are we doing?
Remember that scene in the movie where the kid gives her a drawing? She's like, what do I do with this? I'm like, you just take the fucking drawing, you mean?
How are you a paramedic?
Yeah, like what the hell? Like, oh, this is the first time I've ever gotten thanked for something.
Don't
like,
you need to be like a hospitable to get hired for that?
Right? Customer service much? It was weird.
Was the 2000s that different?
Yeah, I guess so. Every ambulance person, every medic was just evil.
Not enough new metal in Madam Web.
Yeah, we're not gonna do that one. But anyways,
still this year. That's wild.
Yeah, that was a long year. Is Madam Web can make more than Joker 2? Probably not, right? Not overall.
I don't know. That's good Johnny Cash music trailer again with Craven.
What?
The trailer for Craven has like a Johnny Cash song.
Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't get a Craven trailer.
You've seen the Craven trailer, the newer one.
Newer one?
The newer one that's a couple months old by this point.
Oh, maybe I did.
I
couldn't tell you the song I played in the trailer.
It's the same line like 5 times. But it's repetitive, but it also sounds so cool because it's Johnny Cash.
The amount of Web made 100 million, so yeah, definitely less than Joker. But yeah, let's start off with what do you want to start with first? Let's do Agatha, because that was the talk of the town, as a kid said. I saw that too, Draven. Welcome back, Draven.
Oh, our new Ben. Where's Ben?
I know, where's Ben been at, man? Me and Ben for a good run there. Now it's Draven being our new Draven. You're our new moderator, buddy. For anybody else who wants to join in the podcast,
I'm gonna have to go on the YouTube settings to do.
How long does it take to make somebody a moderator? You have to go into YouTube settings or whatever and go to his name.
As long as I can like find their channel and go into my channel settings, I can like just go like this one.
Cool. How efficient.
But
yeah, Draven, are you gonna watch Joker 2 on digital? Is that why you're telling us? Because you're so excited to watch Joker 2? It's okay. We are a hospitable podcast. We don't dismiss opinions. And Nathan loved Joker 2. Favorite movie of the year.
Did I rank it?
I did not rank it yet.
You don't rank anything, but like you're like 5 months behind.
Hey, I'm like August. What is it right now? October?
December.
Fuck.
You're on Christmas break.
And that happened to me one year. I was just like scrolling and logging like every day because I was so behind like at the end of the year.
I have it at 19.
Wow. I mean, you've only seen 20 movies, so that makes sense.
I've seen 39.
Wow. Okay, that's higher than I thought it would be.
It's higher than the bike riders. Say that.
Damn. What did bikers ever do to you?
I was bored. I'm sorry.
I was bored during.
I don't like to be like this with movies.
I was bored with Joker 2. I might wait $5 bin.
Damn.
Man, good times those bins. I haven't been to a Walmart. I haven't seen one of those bins in a minute. Anyways, let's talk about Agatha. This was a big episode for Agatha. Last week we were talking about like predictions for things to come as they continue going on these trials. Are we going to lose any more witches? What's going to become of the Agatha-Rio relationship? And obviously, how soon will we get the reveal that Billy is, in fact, Billy? The teen is Billy, is Wiccan from the comic books.
Now.
And yeah, the episode's like, you know what? We listened to the podcast. We're doing this now. We're pulling the lever.
Even the like official accounts are like, Billy.
Oh, really?
It's like, yes.
That's funny. So we talked about this at the beginning of the of our run here of doing Agatha episodes.
Mhm.
I was hoping that we wouldn't have to wait until the finale to say the obvious. The teen is Billy. Granted, if you're not a fan of comic books, you might be like, he could be one of the kids, could be Tommy, if you're not familiar with anything. But yeah, this is a Wish show. We knew it's been
Junior? Oh shit.
right. Is he doing the? Oh, he's doing the Justin Hammer dance. No, okay. Yeah. Bring him back. What a gem. What a good guy.
You're one hype when we spin the wheel on MCU. You're like, well, I got the hammer dance.
I wouldn't mind. Iron Man 2 is fun. I like the race car scene at least.
It's hard for me to find that MCU thing I just like. It could happen.
Ant-Man and the Wasp is pretty tame and not bad. It's just boring. Thor 2 is pretty boring as well.
Quantumania is my least favorite.
Quantumania is boring as well. Is Quantumania worse than Ant-Man and the Wasp?
I'm still mad I was baited by a better story.
Yeah, in the trailer.
In the trailers.
Our whole review was like, what happened? Yeah.
That's good marketing for your main character story. Oh, it's not the main character story.
Exactly. Well, yeah, anyways, let's focus here. Let's lock in. Agatha, all along, House of Harkness, you know the deal. I'm gonna make it happen. I like this episode overall. Like I was saying earlier, some of the Agatha Rio stuff wasn't really in this episode, but we did get a lot of Agatha. I was shocked to discover that we're at Agatha's trial within this episode. I figured that's something that they would save for the finale. But let's go here piece by piece. Of course, everybody wants to talk about the whole reveal at the end, but let's go in this piece by piece here. We learned at the beginning, we're getting it. Good. That was pretty good.
I heard it's good.
I heard it's good. It's like I'm not the biggest fan of it. Not that I'm not a fan. I'm just like a Lego biopic. I'll watch that with the $5 bin, as Draven would say.
Disrespect. There's no Blu-rays in there. It's all DVD.
Okay, throwback. We used to watch DVDs, Nathan. Okay,
we did used to, and now we evolved.
Wow. Okay.
We used to live in caves, Evan. You want to go back?
Kind of.
Is that a threat?
Yeah. You gonna come to Ohio, motherfucker?
I also say this every time we watch an old movie, and then someone ends up in like a medical care. I'm like, God, that's frightening. like lesser medicine.
People always ask like, what year would you want to go back to? I'm like, I don't want to go back at all. People are more racist wherever I want to go back to. Second of all, it's like the medical care isn't really that great.
Yeah, I don't want to go anywhere pre-2000 for medical care.
Right? It's like, you want to go out to the 70s, Evan? No? 60s? No? Want me to get lynched? I ain't doing none of that stuff. Like, I'm good. I'll stay in the present.
I want to see medieval times, or do you want the plague?
Right? Where they shit in the street? Like, I'm good. Anyways. But yeah, this was interesting here. We get the beginning of Agatha, and it's contextualizing her flashback with her mom and, killing all the other coven, which is important because we learn, that the sacred coven, what's it called? The bad coven people, what are they called? Salem 7. They are after Agatha. They have been after Agatha, and we learn the Salem 7 are the descendants of the coven that Agatha killed in retaliation for nearly killing her.
That's cool. Yeah.
That was a very cool idea. Again, her mom was really out to kill Agatha. We saw in WandaVision. She absorbs the magic and ends up killing the other witches. Now, this is where I bring into, and we're going to talk about it later, of course, with the tragic death of Alice Wu. But Nathan, I have to ask you, let's talk about it now. Agatha's power. We see it in the flashback. We see it with Alice's character. The absorption ability here, and I guess this would just lead right into what happened with Alice. Is this instinctual? Is she in charge? Did she mean to kill Alice? Did she mean to kill the other coven when they were attacking her in the past? Or is it something within her unique abilities where it's just it just happens and then she locks in. I couldn't really grasp when it was happening and when she puts it on. You know what I mean? When she's in active control.
So initial watches, I thought it was instinctual, whether like meant to or not, and then the happenstance made it like, okay, we're doing it. But then later, when she does seem to be in such like confusion, it seems like I don't think she meant to do that. And there's even like more thought that who may have been behind it, and that leads into the ending bit that we're saving.
Well, you think Billy was in charge of what happened with Alice?
Who knows? It could have been indirect. I mean, granted, we know her mother has been known to indirectly affect minds that she didn't intend to.
But even Wanda can absorb. Wanda can absorb magic. Never mind.
No, but like make somebody who can absorb magic.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I just don't think that happened. There's no way that would happen. That would have happened.
It's kind of allude to that being what happened.
No, it doesn't. I mean, at the end of the episode, but it's like he was distraught. The reason he gets powered up in the first place is because he was angry, emotional, or what. He wouldn't get emotional if he did in the first place. That would delete the entire last sequence. Emotionally.
Yeah, it's up in the air. I don't know.
It's not up in the air. There's no air. It's just up. It's up. It's gone. It's not there. It's gone.
What's going on? The aspect ratio didn't change back to widescreen. Who knows what the fuck happened? And we know that's not just like a choice. Like they're intentional with those aspect ratios.
Are they? Just like they're intentional.
That's carried over from WandaVision.
Oh, wow.
It's always widescreen on the road, but not this time.
I would not know. I did not notice that at all. Actually,
you never notice the trials are in full screen, and then we go widescreen on the road.
Not at all.
Every episode.
Wow. Now I know. That's why you pay you the big bucks.
Now you know, and now you know. Billy was.
He was not. No, he wasn't. Stop it.
I don't know. Later though, yeah, but
later he locks him. But I think emotionally, it has to be that he wasn't in charge. He had no idea what was happening. He grew upset at Agatha. It's building up that he's been upset. He's been weary but / defending. I keep saying wary of Agatha, and he was kind of defending her. And then this is finally the breaking point, physically and mentally for him, where he's like, "Okay, you physically just killed Alice. I saw something that you did, and I've been trying to defend you. Now I'm done with you." And then he gets on the witch's road, and I'm with you. I think part of me watching the Alice scene and again watching the prologue scene, when she gets hit with those blasts and she's tied up by her mom, she's just taking it. And then it kind of like unlocks. It's kind of like, in anime when it's like something bad happened, like when you're near death, that's when you unlock your biggest talents or your quirks or whatever, My Hero style. By the way, I saw the latest My Hero movie. Very fun. Anyways, fourth movie, 2018, 2019, 2021, 2024.
How many seasons?
7 seasons just ended. And they
I was watching season 1.
They just confirmed that season 8 it will be the final season next year, 2025. Which I'm confused about because I'm like, knowing the chapters, they don't have enough for 12 episodes, and 12 episodes is usually like the max they do.
No filler, all locked in.
All locked in. But it's gonna be great. I think they'll do like 8 or 10. I think they're gonna do a smaller, which Demon Slayer did like last season Demon Slayer did like a 7-episode season recently. I think My Hero could do that. It's popular enough.
Can maybe do one more movie.
Ooh, baby. They could not, given how the manga ends. There's nothing to do afterwards. No spoilers, but like there wouldn't be a movie available there.
The finale is movie length worthy.
As I was saying, like where the season ended and where the manga is, or where the manga ended, they could have made this like a 2-hour movie. I could see that happening. Yeah, I could eat, but then I'm fine with them doing like 4 or 6 episodes of something. I'm cool with that too. I feel like they could really extend the ending for My Hero. But anyway, sorry, getting distracted there. My Hero fan.
That's where we're at.
Sorry, Agatha. Yeah. But yeah, so I think her getting absorbed by the magic, it clicked in when she's in near death experience, and then she, as you said, locked in and absorbs what happened in the past. But then with Alice's character, it's the same thing where Alice takes out her mom's away from the Agatha vessel during the trial, and Agatha is surprised. She's absorbing it because it's instinctual, but then again, I think she locks in. She's been hungry for mana, hungry for power, and she finally gets it again. And I think that's when she's actively in control until Billy kicks her out of it by mentioning Nicholas Scratch. But going back to the beginning here, we'll get to that later on as well. So yeah, I like that prologue again, contextualizing Agatha's power and her connection with her mom, not the best mom in the world. And then yeah, they go on that witch's broom ride as it's very intense. The Salem 7 are coming after them. Very freaky characters so far. Not really that menacing, but they're freaky to watch. And I like seeing them have this moment of bliss in the episode called Darkest Hour. But they get their moment of bliss as they traverse over the full blood red moon. And they get moments of happiness, even though they said it's all full of cliche. I like how they get their moments of happiness amongst that.
Yeah, that was cool.
I like that a lot. And they get their one Rio Agatha shout. Agatha looks back at Rio smiling, and Rio's laughing maniacally. So yeah, again, just that small glimpse of the Agatha Rio connection. Maybe Agatha and Rio traverse brooms after their Bonnie and Clyde killing spree in the past. Who knows? Because we know, given their relationship in our theory about her being death, which again just seems more and more like that's happening. Everything's happening around Agatha and the other witches, and Rio's just having fun time. Rio dies, and we mentioned, or she mentioned herself, that she wants to just collect bodies in episode 3. We saw Agatha or Rio. We see Alice die, and everybody leaves, and Rio just stays there. She could have collected Alice's body off screen. So I still think Rio is going to become an antagonist as we move into the second half of this season. But yeah, the witches, keep on running, and they run their way into a cabin in the woods again. And this time it's Agatha's story, which is shocking because I didn't think we'd go here this early. I thought we'll go through all the side characters, then save Agatha's torment for the finale or penultimate episode. Maybe they'll save that for Billy's thing, and people will be surprised, what, Billy? How is he getting a trial when he's not, a witch or whatever? But I think there's going to be the surprise where it's he's not an actual witch; he's a son of the Scarlet Witch. So he actually gets to have his own emotional trial. But anyways, that's theory for later. Well, how do you like this setup where we seem to be in the 80s here?
Very cool, very slumber party aesthetic. But also very, very cool vibe. The break out the Ouija board. Don't do that.
You ever play Ouija, Nathan?
I'm forbidden.
Forbidden? Oh, you're a church guy?
No. I'm agnostic. But my mom told me not to.
Yeah.
Because she played with one and it didn't end well.
Oh, wow. I never played one myself. I don't believe in any of that ghouls and goblin stuff, so I don't know.
I was literally looking into it. I was like, does it work if you get the fucking Hasbro brand, fucking Mattel board game brand Ouija board that they were playing? And most online said no. You gotta get a more legit, nice made one. I was but yeah, I think all the rules lined. I was literally looking into it after the episode. I was like, what is the rules? So it's interesting, but yeah, it's a cool aesthetic as well with all of them pairing together.
Yeah, I liked that. We saw a lot of Billy, looking at the rules. Jennifer and Lydia connecting more. They'll connect more and more against Agatha as the trial goes on. Alice is also seemingly with Agatha during this side of the storyline. Rio's off doing her Rio thing. As we're all looking for clues, going over a lot of the how do we solve this escape room style? Like, how do we get out of here? And they quickly realize, oh, this is Agatha's storyline. I forget how they realized that.
I say,
was it the Ouija board itself or something like that? They realize it's the blood red moon, which is like the line between life and death is thinnest. The connection.
I remember Rio's the one that called it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't matter. But either way, Rio also again just becoming one of the most knowledgeable characters. We mentioned last week how she's like, he is not your son, which will allude to the ending of this episode. But one of the more, we can skip over some of the other stuff here, but one of the biggest parts was like each trial has their punishment. And this is my question to you. The main villain of this whole scenario was, as they're doing the Ouija board, they're doing all this stuff, the mom ends up coming out, Agatha's mom. And this is when people are turning on Agatha around this same time. Jennifer and Lydia have been, wary of Agatha throughout the entire series so far, telling Billy, hey, stay away from her. And they seem to be building up in this episode here as, even the mom tells her, hey, you shouldn't have been born. I wish you weren't born. And Agatha's like, happy to see you again, Mom, or whatever. And then they were like, how do we get out of here? We have to punish Agatha. And the other witches were very eager. And this is before the mom came out. But the other witches were very eager to punish Agatha. But it was Billy who was like, okay, or the teen at this point. We can't do that. There has to be another way. Agatha then gets possessed. We get a cool, then again, she gets possessed. The mom explains, Agatha shouldn't have been born. I thought that would cause a switch in the witches to be like, okay, wow, this mom is really fucked up. Saying her own daughter should be dead. I thought that would turn them with Agatha, but it doesn't. It does for Alice, who defends Agatha a little bit, who also looks at the witch like, dang, that's kind of cold.
Rio was also fighting that Agatha does not stay behind, can't have her.
Exactly. Rio definitely, because it's both ways, right? Emotionally, Rio is connected with Agatha, but secondly, it's we had a deal. Agatha owes me some bodies. I need her to pragmatically to stay alive. So it could work both ways. But I'm with you emotionally as well. They have a relationship. Had a relationship. But then the witches. However, Jennifer and Lydia were also it was if she wants to be punished, this our ticket out of here, then we should just leave her to be perished with her mom. But then we get a cool, haunting exorcist vibe here as she gets possessed by the mom. I really like this part. The makeup effects have been very good. I've been mentioning it week to week, where I think a lot of the makeup, character design, that's animation, but the makeup and costume design. Thank you. Costume design has been very stellar throughout this show. I think that's going to be some cool nominations for the Creative Arts Emmys next year for the show, definitely. But just the creepy makeup on Agatha as she was possessed a la Exorcist was very cool. And they didn't know how to take that away from Agatha. And eventually Alice ends up using her magic to try and physically take out the witch away from Agatha. Just zap your ass. And I put a bookmark on here because I didn't know this, but the Agatha fandom, they pay more attention to this show than I do.
I have a tweet for later.
What?
I have a tweet as well, and I don't know if it's for now or later, but I'm gonna hear what you have.
But Lydia, her premonitions. Is it Lilia or Lydia? I've been saying Lydia this entire time. It could be Lydia.
Isn't it Lydia?
I don't know. I'm reading the tweet. It says Lilia. Anyways, Lydia's premonitions were actually a warning for Alice to not try and save Agatha this whole time. In episode 2, she says during episode 3, during Alice's trial, Lydia says, Alice, don't. She says, don't what? And then she says, don't try to save Agatha. And then, of course, she tries to save Agatha. She dies in the process. And, of course, Lydia is able to see into the future certain things. So that could have been just subtle, not even subtle, just foreshadowing for don't save Agatha. It'll be at the cost of your life.
Yeah.
So that was very interesting.
That is interesting. It's also very tragic, especially after the beauty of the last episode.
Exactly. She finally got herself out of those maternal scars, like from her mother. Finally getting close to her mother, having that closure that she felt she never had. And then get on the witch's road. She was very happy during this whole like broom sequence. She finally found a semblance of happiness. Of course, she's on the witch's road. You never could be too sure. But yeah, it felt like, wow, this character has legs and ends up dying, which just brings us back to reality. As much as this isn't reality, we're in a witch's show, but like it brings us back to like brass tacks that okay, we are going to be losing people on this show. It wasn't just a gag that Mrs. Hart or Mrs. Davis, whatever her name is, died. Sharon. It wasn't just a gag that she died. She died. And again, Sharon, Alice, they might come back knowing, the MCU or whatever. But for now, I'll take it for their word and that they're dead. Mm-hmm. Even in this episode, Sharon comes back in a way, but she's a ghost.
No, it was a joke.
Oh, you're right. Duh, it was a joke in the first place. So yeah, I think these characters might be dead, and I hope they're dead. Just like I felt like it would deflate the stakes of the road if they just brought them back. And again, if they do bring them back, I'm cool with that. It would have to be done well and
I think it could still work if it's a matter of like if you truly make it to the end of the road, then like you can maybe have them back as long as you've gone through the personal journey of being willing to have made the sacrifices that led you to here.
Exactly. And that's a great point. That brings me back to my other question I have for my notes here. Each trial, they have to do some kind of like, resolution or whatever. Like,
so in the see that like the trial was completed.
Exactly. And in this one, I'm not really sure if that was the case.
Well, I have a quote here from Jack Schaefer.
You do. Tell.
Yeah, so he says, this is from the rap.
She, I think.
What? She?
Yeah, she, I think. She's. Right? I think Jack Schaefer is a she.
Oh, okay. I was just saying it's from the rap.
Oh, sorry. Continue.
Gotcha. But yeah, as Jack Schaefer says, the Coven passed Agatha's trial because Agatha was punished. She kills one of her own Coven members and then has to look in the faces of the rest of her Coven, and that's when the door opens because she is punished. So basically, she has to like live with the guilt of the action within the group that she's forced to work with.
What a great quote for a great point that I was literally in my notes. That's so funny. Me and Nathan don't prepare, but sometimes magic happens.
Sometimes I open the fucking Bird app and the Which Updates account helps me out.
We get lucky here. But yeah, my main question was like, what was the real solution? Did Agatha get punished? And Nathan just answered that expertly. Well, at least the director did. Showrunner, I mean. I thought the solution was like similar to how Alice had to come to terms with her mom's truth and what really happened with her music and the sacrifices her mom made. Mm-hmm. This time you can't really come to terms with your mom, but I felt like she could understand. She could like have a bigger confrontation with her mom, but that got canceled because Alice just shot her and Agatha ended up killing Alice. But the punishment, that's a great point. How Alice did the deed; she killed Alice, and her punishment is living with that while the other witches, he's just look in their face. I like that a lot. Like, look in their face. You did do this. And like leads us to the second or the last act of this episode here, where it's very interesting, where we go back and forth on like, did Agatha have control or not? I think we're leaning more so on she initially like, oh wow, I didn't expect this to happen. she didn't initially like absorb Alice, but once she felt it happening, she's like, oh, I like this. And then I don't know if I like this, but like, oh, I haven't felt this in a long time. Powers back, and at the cost of Alice, I'm sorry. I don't even want to say I'm sorry. It's just it is what it is. And Agatha's always been like that. She's always been pragmatic. She's been growing more and more, but we're only halfway through the season. I think she still has a long time for her heart to grow 3 sizes per se. So I think what like the Jack Shaver mentioned, I think her emotions really hitting in when she's confronted by the kid, but by the teen that she's been slowly getting a personal connection to, when he's lashing out at her like, hey, just get away from me. Like, is there any way to bring her back? I think that's what shakes Agatha more so than the act of killing Alice, honestly. And I think, there's a scene afterward where she's like, slowly moving her hand, caressing her hand. You see the magic popping up a little bit. She's not at full power, but she's slowly coming back to power. So I think she needs a couple more absorptions. But again, also before we leave there, Rio also eyed the body. The camera pans to Rio, her eyes, and pans back to Alice. I'm like, I think it's alluding to her wanting to absorb the body of Alice Wu. Again, guys, that was a contract that Agatha and Alice signed. So, or Agatha and Rio signed. So they want that to be a continuing thread. But yeah, and then this is where things get interesting. The aspect ratio. No, I'm kidding. This is where things get interesting because Agatha really, instead of apologizing or going back on it like, hey, I'm sorry, Billy, I don't know what came over me, she owns it. And I think she owned it in a way that's kind of similar to if anybody watched like House of the Dragon, there's a character Aemon who does a horrible act, but then even if he didn't mean to do it, he still owns it because he's like, okay, it happened already. I'm just going to own it. And I think that's kind of where Agatha, at least in my interpretation, she's going down here, where it happened. She gets her power back, net positive, and she's starting to own it. She's not apologizing to the kid at all, to the teen at all.
Yeah.
And she says, the more he gets angry, she's like, oh, you're definitely the son of your mother, something along those lines, right? Like, you're definitely you're a lot like your mother. Which goes back to, when do you think she fully realized this is Agatha's or Scarlet Witch's son?
Now,
okay, yeah. Because I think you're right. I think there's a look at Catherine Hahn, guys, has been fantastic. By the way, just got to mention that again. She's been really good with her like matching the tone of each episode. That's what makes this series so much fun, because each episode has a slightly different tone. They're all fun vibes for the most part, fun, spooky vibes. But Agatha has been nailing, or Catherine Hahn has been nailing Agatha's like growing emotion, then reverting back to her pragmatic Agatha, to like serious Agatha, to like heartwarming Agatha. Agatha's a very like well-rounded kind of character. It's very fun. I didn't expect that at all, to be honest. But either way, there's a look she gives Billy where she's like, oh, like he's really pissed at me. But also I see your hand twitching. I think, oh, okay, like you really are this, the son of your mother, of Scarlet. And I think that was a very interesting correlation, especially after last week where Rio basically had to shake her and be like, he is not your son. Like, that is not your son. As much as she's been trying to like input him as her son, Nicholas Scratch. Oh, which we totally forgot. That's a big part of the episode as well. Nicholas Scratch was one of the main reasons to convince Agatha to like, regain control again, because Nicholas Scratch, her son, was saying, hey, mom, don't do this. Like, stop it, please. And that also helps along with Alice. So that was a big thing. We're getting more and more seeds planted about like what really happened to her son. There were some theories that like maybe her son could be alive, but we learned that like her son is speaking through the Ouija board, so he is like dead. Confirmed.
If it is him at all.
If it is him at all, that's a good point. It could be something.
Or if it posed as another.
That could have been, yeah. I'll take it for his word right now, but yeah, that's a good point.
Sure.
So yeah, so I think some of the main things going towards the future episodes is going to be, of course, the future with Billy's character. How is he alive? what happened there. There have been some theories on that. I watched a recap video, and they're like, they could just do what they did in the comics, where it's just like where Billy and Tommy, yes, were created out of nothingness, but when they got reincarnated into random people's bodies. So like Billy, the Billy boy, let me explain this. The boy that Billy came into was like a random kid living their life. When Billy, Agatha's or Wanda's son, gets reincarnated into an already living body who's already living their life. So like the person we see right now, Joe Locke's character of the teen, could have like already been living their life for a long time, and then all of a sudden Billy comes into that body, which is already tragic. It sounds tragic because like that poor person who got body hopped just disappeared. So I don't know if that's gonna happen. That sounds weird, but it could happen. We never really know. With all the Wanda, Westview, Eastview stuff, like we never really know the extent of her powers.
Yeah,
it could have some tragic implications if that is what happened. There was a trailer for the future episode. Did you want to watch that, by the way, or did you already watch that?
I opted out. Usually, like whenever there's a mid-season trailer, I'm like, well, I'm here.
Yeah, I'm not that locked into this show, so I kind of like I watched it anyways, and there's some stuff I'm like, oh, that could be what we could be seeing. But I'll hold off then.
There's been a couple of shows where we were talking, and you were like, "Whoa, from the trailers," and I'm like, "What the fuck you talking about? Trailer 3, motherfucker? What are you doing?"
That only happened for like
Spot 7.
Like Acolyte, I was watching everything for Acolyte. Renew, save the Acolyte, guys. Go support Leslie Headland. I haven't heard her since July, and I miss her already.
We're still here. There are dozens of us.
80,000 plus signatures.
There's thousands of us.
Thousands of us. Tens of thousands of us. So yeah. We're
God damn it.
What?
Just give me my Disney gallery, god damn it.
Right? What the fuck? Boba Fett got one.
Why are they stalling? It's so weird.
Because they fucking hate us.
Did Ahsoka get one?
Yeah, I did. I think so. Am I wrong? I think it did. Yeah, right? Because I remember they had like an interview with the Ezra actor.
And I'm going to go find it.
Find it for me. I could be wrong. But I'm pretty sure they did. While you look that up, I'll continue talking. Again, I just think she gives Billy this look that she like, okay, the recollection that, oh, this could be Agatha's, or I keep saying that, this could be Scarlet's son because of the way he was acting in anger. The same way that like Scarlet was very pissed in the finale of WandaVision. It's like, oh, okay, very similar movements physically, where like he's moving his hand, the blue aura starts to appear, and this is when things get crazy. He possesses Jennifer and Lydia, who grab Agatha, throw her into the mud. He then flings off Lydia and Jennifer, throws them into the mud. Camera zooms back as he's both unleashed his power on all of them, minus Rio, expertly enough. Like, he's not touching Rio. I don't think he can control death. So then he throws them aside. So Lydia, Jennifer in the mud, Agatha in the mud. And we zoom back. Billie Eilish's You Can See Me in the Crown starts playing. And we see his crown appear, akin to Wanda's red crown. We see Billy's blue crown as his Wiccan costume comes to fruition.
I really never thought about it because every like image I see of Wiccan, it's just like a fucking like bar.
It's a silver mask. Yeah, I didn't bet that. I like this a lot though.
It's a gorgeous design, having the same intricacy, like inner branches type design of this the crown that Wanda has, but for Billy, that's wonderful. There was a side note update for Ahsoka. There was a special look called Master and Apprentice, but it's only 8 minutes.
No Disney gallery for Ahsoka at all.
Not from what I can see. Even like they kind of stopped calling them that because the Obi-Wan's was called a Jedi Return.
Yeah, man, I'm glad they had one for Willow before they canceled that show. But
which they also removed that, which is like, goddamn it.
They moved the Willow gallery.
Yeah,
that's fucked.
But luckily, the person who gave me the drive link also included that one as well.
The one where they're saying like, "Thank you, Disney, for having a gay relationship be like the focus of our TV show. Thank you, Disney, for having a female lead in our TV show, multiple female leads with multiple different arcs. Thank you, Disney, for having an Indian actor play a very prominent character in your show. Disney really took a lot of risks with our show. Thank you, Disney." Cancel.
That's unfortunate.
Fuck you, Disney.
Like anyway. even to the point, it's like we were at Celebration. What are we doing?
Right? They're bringing Manny to Celebration Tokyo. That's fucked, guys. I'll keep on saying that. That's fucked. If they're just gonna be like, hey, sign a few signatures, smile to the fans, and wave and say bye. No. And now season 2 because Disney hasn't officially said anything. Copium. Stiffen that copium. Maybe they announced it on Star Wars Show Stage. How baller! Guys, if that happens, if there's a Star Wars Show Stage, they bring out Manny. Of course, fans are going to predictably cry for Acolyte Season 2. He's like, you know what, guys? We're bringing it back. I'm bringing back Acolyte Season 2. I would drop to my knees. I don't care how many people are in the room. I'm dropping my knees. I'm crying. I am tears in my face, crying. No, actually, I would probably scream. I would lose my voice first. Then I would drop to my knees and cry.
I would love that. That said, are you only going to the convention for that disillusionment of a possibility? Are you going?
Yeah, I'm going. I'm not. I didn't sell my tickets. I already bought my tickets. To be honest though, like my hype for future Star Wars projects, as I said, has died down dramatically. They're going to show us a trailer for Mando and Grogu, and
is Jalen going?
Yeah. I bought tickets at the same time. So yeah, and I've always wanted to go to Japan, so that's probably it. Like if this was like a Chicago celebration, I'd probably be less incentivized to go. Oddly enough, excuse me, because I'm just not excited for the future of Star Wars. But like, especially because we got those cool again sidebar. We got those cool badges. Those usually allude to what we'll be talking about and seeing. There's a Ahsoka badge.
Does it?
Most of the time. For example,
they have like a lot of like broad spectrum art for.
True, but like in 2019, it was like a little bit of Mando focus. It was the year of Mando. We got some good Clone Wars stuff. The Clone Wars announcement was made. I think I forget. I wasn't in London, so I don't know what the badge is like in London. But usually they're like a talking point. And granted, any character in Star Wars usually has a talking point at Celebration because it's Star Wars Celebration. But like there's like a Vader one, so maybe that one's like it's just Vader. Vader's Vader.
I mean, the Anaheim one was just like landscapes.
Yeah, that was bad. That was bad.
What's bad was the one with the Razor Crest, where it's just like the back of it in front of just fucking brown dirt.
Couldn't really tell what was going on. Yeah, but again, they had like the Mando season. They had a Mando Mando panel there, multiple Mando panels. But anyways, I just think 2025 is going to be all about like the Mando and Grogu movie. Hopefully the Rey movie. Hopefully we get some news on Mangold stuff. Maybe they'll bring Sean Levy out. I'm not excited for any of that stuff. Besides like the Mangold and Rey movie. But yeah, man, like if this celebration had like the Acolyte stuff, man, I would be thriving. But 2025 is the last year of the High Republic, so I'm very curious. Like, my main hope for the Acolyte moving forward is just like, hey, just announced you're continuing the Acolyte via publishing. I've had some of the best Star Wars moments in the publishing era with the High Republic. I would be tears of joy just be able to read like a 400-page book about season 2 of the Acolyte. That would be like living my best dream. But that's for another time. Let's continue finishing up the Agatha discussion here. So nothing much else needs to be said. Billy's in full control. What do you think we'll see? There's some theories that he was acting on emotion. This is his first big time coming to power. Yeah. So a couple questions here. Number one, let me remember my own questions. Do we think that he was possessed by his own power, in the sense that like he actively did that stuff, yes, but like, is he gonna be like episode 5 starts? He's like, zoom, like, oh shit, what did I just do? Like, wow, like kind of like we know Agatha's not dead; she'll probably get pulled out of the mud. The other 2 characters probably not dead; they'll probably get pulled out of the mud. But like, if that does happen, I mean, that doesn't take away from what we saw. It's still a really cool scene what we saw. But like, what does that mean for the Billy's character? Because we initially thought like he doesn't know who his mom is, or maybe he does know who his mom is. But like, are we gonna start hearing more? Like, is his mouth thing gone now that he has awakened his powers? How does that work? Like, because I thought like, oh, when he'll unlock his powers is when his mouth secret, thing disappears. Because it literally said it disappears when when they are, what?
When you don't need it anymore.
When you don't need it anymore. He seems strong enough. He might not need it anymore. So it's like, will he be able to say it in this episode this week?
Probably, especially if the social media team is also like, yeah, it's Billy. So, but that being said, yeah, I do think he probably did do it indirectly. Like he wasn't kind of like a blackout type of situation. Again, like Wanda did in WandaVision. It's Hereditary. But yeah, I think that's definitely what we're seeing here, and I'm sure he's gonna snap back into it because he's a very like caring person for the whole coven, whether they fuck up or not.
And that's going to be a consistent thing. As much as we saw him doing what looked to be very evil and out of anger, he is still written to be a hero. He's still going to be a heroic character amongst like this gray area of witches who are not great, but like, they're not. None of these characters are heroes at all. But besides Billy, Billy has always been like that moral center of the group. He's the Ben from Parks and Rec. He's the Jim from The Office. He's our straight guy. I couldn't think of any other straight men. Not like straight men as in, straight common. Anyways, he's not straight. But anyways, also second question now, what's next? Is he going to try and go after the road alone? Or maybe he's just like, okay, he puts them back. Like, what's the vibe of the group going to be now that he has his powers? I'm very just curious about that.
That's the question. Honestly, I can kind of see like some magic fuckery happening where like they end up in the mud and like the road pulls them to a new section of it.
Oh, that'd be cool. Kind of like what is this, Jumanji or Harry Potter, where it's like you just sink into the bottom, the second floor or whatever.
Yeah, I think that. Also, I think the next trial we're probably gonna see is I forgot the oldest witch's name.
Lydia.
Yeah, I think she's next. Figure out what's going on with her past.
If you had to guess, because the Jennifer already had hers, and then it was Alice, then it was Agatha. So yeah, it has to be Lydia. What episode are we going to be on this week? 6.
Yeah, so 6, 7, 8. So we got Lydia, Rio, and then
Lydia, Rio, Teen. If Rio even has one, if she is a witch, if she's death, like, is she gonna have her own trial? Would she need one? But yeah, Lydia.
She's part of the coven. The rules of the road.
Per the rules of the road. Good point. So like Lydia, Rio, Billy, or vice versa. I could see them saving Rio for the finale too. They usually do their big villain battles of the finale. So yeah, again, predictions. I'm very curious to see the origins of both Billy's character, the origins of Nicholas Scratch, not origins, but just like what really happened to Agatha's son. Yeah. That seems to be her main drive for the road, as much as she doesn't want to admit it. And then Billy, like, what? Now that you have your powers, you've been searching for power. You came on this quest for, understanding yourself and your power, but now you have it. We still have ways to go. What's next for you? I think it's going to be the search for his mom. Maybe his brother. I don't know. Does he even realize that's his brother?
Maybe he's going on the Vision Quest.
Maybe he is the Vision Quest, yes. So yeah, that's about it. Very fun episode overall. Again, arguably the best one. I think the Alice one was also very strong. So overall, I'm having fun with Agatha all along. I'm having more fun than I thought I would be having. Right now, I would put it like above Moon Knight standards so far for me.
Wow.
I didn't really fuck with Moon Knight. It was a fun show, but like Oscar really held that show together.
What?
Definitely over the Power Broker show. Yeah. Nathan's favorite Disney Plus.
We both don't like the Power Broker stuff. I'm not gonna act like that was a win.
I don't know if it's over Secret Invasion, but it might be tied to Secret Invasion right now.
I'm about to watch.
I'm kidding. No, you're not. It's okay.
Yes, I am. Next
not.
time we tune in, Nathan will have watched.
No, you won't. Stop saying that, Nathan. Stop making
watch.
promises you can't keep.
Those are the best kind.
What's that from?
It's Amazing Spider-Man 1.
Damn it. Who says that?
Andrew. And Gwen.
Oh, wow.
Peter and Gwen. No, I'm sorry. The teacher and Peter whispers it to Gwen.
Oh, whoa.
Sorry. Correction. That's what's at stake here, Evan. Not choice. Responsibility.
Stop it. Somebody reprimanded this man. He's uncontrollable.
I can when we go live.
Penguin episode 4.
Hey man, this one was kind of fucked up.
Beyond fucked up. This was a fantastic episode. I haven't heard any complaints because usually people complain about, oh, we didn't see much of our main character. This was a flashback episode. Like, the same bullshit people said about episode 3 of The Last of Us, which was peak fiction.
Is the Penguin show for the birds? Those bullshit headlines that have to make a pun.
Oh no. I was watching a stream and somebody watched a political ad where apparently somebody was like, therefore they and them and not you. Something like that, where it's just like, wait, what?
You're just saying shit.
Very funny. Okay. But anyways, the Penguin episode 4. I tweeted this out last night after I finished the episode. I think this was easily the Emmy nomination episode for Christine Milani. Kristen, yeah. I think Milioti. Anyways, I'm keep on butchering her name. We know who she is. She plays Sophia. Fantastic actress. Fantastic performance. As we see the full depth of her character of Sophia. More so than the person who's just been like hiding all these secrets, going toe to toe with Oz in present day. We can see more layers of her character in her past via her relationship with Alberto, Oz, and her father, Mr. Falcone here, played by Mark Strong, not John
Turturro.
John Turturro. I assume they were filming this last year in 2020 or last year in 2022-ish. I assume John Turturro was busy filming Severance season 2, if I had to guess. Because Severance season 2 was doing other stuff as well.
I was just kind of thinking like, hey, I made the movie that I signed on for, and I died in that movie. Here we go.
People claimed he was busy. I think that's what James said or something.
Yeah, he's not above returning to roles. He did the Transformers trilogy.
Exactly, guys. Mm-hmm. I only need to talk to Megatron. What did he say? I don't know.
One man, alone, betrayed by the country he loves. He's really fun to watch. I want to do those movies so bad, Evan.
I do and don't. Those are long movies.
They get longer, but yeah. But we can make it to Bumblebee, Evan. Isn't it worth it?
We can start with Bumblebee.
No.
Fucker.
You have to experience the pain to get the reward.
What are you, an evil villain?
I'm a chronological order release person.
Talking like an evil antagonist. You have to experience pain to get your reward.
No obligation to do this.
Stop it!
It's at stake, Evan, not choice. Responsibility.
Sony, call this man. He knows all your lines. Oh wow, yeah, Dave, that was Mark Strong. That was Sinestro himself.
That's what's at stake here. But anyway, yeah, that was Sinestro. That's
And this is Am fucker, whatever his name is.
the Shazam fucker. What's his name? The Worm, not the Worm.
This is getting crazy.
Hey, you guys remember Kingsman? That was good.
Not two. Two was not great.
Two's fun.
I did not like two. They killed off my girl in the first 5 minutes.
With how long I've now spent with Pedro Pascal.
You're right.
In my zeitgeist.
Like, oh, this is Pedro phoning in performance looks like. Okay.
Phoning. I don't think so.
Yeah, maybe not, but it was not
Southern as hell.
Yes.
So many fucking people in that movie. I mean, Channing Tatum, Halle Berry, Jeff Bridges.
Yeah.
Julianne Moore is the villain. Questionable.
Questionable a lot. Putting people in sausage grinders. That was weird. Anyways, Elton John, right? He's in those movies.
He was in the second one, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good movie.
Rocket Man himself.
Did we get Rocket Man if we don't have Kingsman 2?
No, yeah. One definitely helped the other there. Yeah, for sure.
It was a fun
anyways, so yeah, I really like this episode a lot. So we see the depth of Sophia's character again, and we see the prologue here, which is very fascinating. I always thought that. Oh, actually, before we get that, we see what happened right when Victor ran over like some of the Maronis.
Right before, yeah.
And it was really cool here.
Yeah, Oz can't come back from this.
Yes, Nathan. Wow. So yeah, he goes full on like I gotta save my own ass here. And he was going in on just being like, because she's like, what the fuck, Oz? What's she talking about? Why does she know about the drops? Like, how does she know about this bliss? Like, she's in charge. She knows all this. And Oz is full on like, don't listen to her, Sophia. I was going to tell you about the drops. Don't kill me. We're in on this together. I'm still working for you. I was just, using the Falcons. I was using her all along. And Sophia.
He was saying he was using Sophia right in front of
Yeah. He was seeing that to Sophia, and Sophia's just sitting there like just having to take it. And I'm just like, damn, like that was crazy. I kind of feel bad, even though we know that Sophia didn't really trust Oz towards the end of episode 2 and 3. She was starting to a little bit trust Oz because Oz was kind of being vulnerable. Even, again, he says in the previous episode, he's like, yeah, I would I did sell you out and I'll do it again. Because look at where look where I came from. And we kind of see the extent of that in this episode in terms of what he did to quote unquote sell her out. But yeah, he's full on like he can't go back from this. He ditches her with Victor, goes off on his merry way. She goes off, calls
contact too before they peel off.
I know. It's like oof.
And those are some eyes you don't want to make contact with in this situation.
Not at all. And prior to that, I'm like, okay. Well, that was risky enough, but Oz could have saved her. But now Oz definitely, he couldn't have, hey, get in the car, Sophia. That wasn't going to happen after what he said. So that added to more context to him just leaving her.
Dude, can you imagine if Vic went on the bus?
Oh my gosh. That'd have been wild. I think they both would have been dead.
Whatever outcome may happen, Oz died.
Yeah, Oz dead. Yeah. So yeah, that was crazy. She calls Julian Rush, her therapist, played again by the guy from Luke Cage, Shades. He dies. She calls him. He does not die. She calls him. He says, like, hey, where you at? She passes out. She wakes up in his office.
She wakes up in the past.
She wakes up in the past. Later on, it's in his office. But yeah, so we go in the past. Let's go back to the past, Samurai Jack style here. Samurai Jack. Back. Anyways, great theme song. She's in the past.
Season, right?
What?
You haven't seen the final season of that, right?
I did. When he's with his girlfriend, with the Azula voice actress.
Yeah.
That was great.
What an ending.
That was a weird ending. That was not great, Bob.
You can never take a non-happy ending unless it's Smile, I guess.
Right. Chronicle hater of Smile, Nathan.
That's still coming after me, Edgar. I thought he was going to come after me again. I was going to be like, we have the same star rating on Letterboxd. What?
What do you guys give Smile, the first one?
I went from 2.5 to 3.5.
Yeah, I think it's 3.5 kind of movie. 3.5. Yeah. I'm hearing great things. I can't wait. It's this weekend, right?
Yeah, I'm excited for the new one.
Are you seeing it this weekend?
No, maybe catch it next weekend.
Maybe next weekend. Got to double up. Might be seeing Smile 2 and the Andrew Garfield and Florence Pugh sex movie. I watched that. Yeah, I'm kidding. I know she's dying in the movie. I know that's gonna be emotional.
It does that looks really good. I really want to see that.
Gotta support my boy Andrew, not just because he's a twip. Yeah. Those Spider-Man jokes. No lines. They're what?
Their press tour right now is amazing.
Oh, I'm sure it is. But yeah, so we see in the past, and this is where things get interesting. We see her supporting this charity foundation for like women, young girls, really supporting this foundation. She seemed to be high up in society, delivering a speech. She says she's not good at speeches, but she does it anyways, which kind of alludes to like the end of the episode where she again says, "I'm not good at speeches," but to the Falcons. In this case, she's doing speeches. Oz is her driver. They have some kind of like a cool relationship here. At least it deteriorates in the episode, but like they have a cool relationship when he's just driving her around. And we know from Oz's world, Oz's POV, that like he didn't love doing this, but building his resume, building his way up. And as she leaves here, she gets a talking to by a reporter, Summer Gleason, something like that, who is a character from the animated series. And she talks about, hey, a lot of women have been dying. Sophia doesn't know this reporter, by the way. It's revealed seconds afterwards. But like she says, like a lot of women have been dying by strangulation. And Jalen and I looked at each other like, oh wait, this is important, because like this is exactly what Falcone did in the this is what Falcone did in the movie too, in 2022's Batman. The main thing was like, hey, you probably choked out Catwoman's mom, and we saw him doing that in the movie. And Catwoman was kind of like doing the same shit. She was looking over like her Catwoman's best friend, Selina's best friend, died in the Iceberg Lounge as well. So it's like this guy has been like a serial killing, straight up like killing women.
Just not sure trust you with these matters.
You're right. So that was just like this episode really showed the darkness of Falcone here. What do you think?
Yeah, dude. It's haunting. It's terrifying. Especially the whole journey with Sophia, where it's like even in the face of the clear evidence pointing towards him, she like tries to find every reason not to believe it. Like to the end, she's like, I gotta believe it, there's a reason. Like I don't think it's you. I can't believe it's you. I don't believe it's you. And then
I think she's like lying to herself when she's talking to him in front of him. Like she's like, "Oh no, Dad, I don't believe it's you." She does at that point, but she's also like scared for her life.
Absolutely, and even so, and I'll tell you, like the biggest like insane thing of the whole situation is like, even though like she was talking to the reporters, like she said like all the right things of like denouncing anything not
right,
like, fuck with us, my family will get you, like the full like mob front. Out of there, but even then, Falcone doesn't care. It just literally throws her away.
It's just the implication, and she doesn't help herself by like again saying like, "But I saw your hand and I saw scratches," and Mom, like, she continues saying that to his face during that birthday party sequence.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just her fear sticking out again. But so yeah, you're right, dude. She says all the right things here during that meeting with the reporter initially, and then later that night as well. But it's Oz who kind of goes back to him. Oh, but I also wanted to mention when she's having this conversation with the reporter at night, and she's like saying like my father would never do this kind of stuff. What do you think she knew about her father during this time as like being like, you know, a charity person during the 10-year time skip or time pass flashback? Like, did she know the extent of her father's things? Because even if she did think her father killed the one of the girls, she's like, my father would never do this. You don't know what my father's been doing. Like, I think she knows her father's like a powerful person. Say it's kind of like one of those things where the father's like, hey, don't go in this room at night. Like, she knows her father might be doing some shady stuff. But he's also like, you know, she's doing a charity, she's doing stuff. Like, and we figured out, we learned later that like the charity was also a place where Falcone admits like, hey, that's where I get my deal. That's where I can talk to some congressman or congresswoman. Like, he's using her accolades, Sophia's accolades, in order to extend the networking of his business. But I think she's mostly unaware. Is that a wrong read?
No, I think you're right, especially like later when she's like asking Alberto, like, do you like what does Dad do? I really like you're more like connected with him than I am. Like, what is he really like doing? Like, do you even know?
Because he doesn't tell me stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he's probably also left out of the loop just based on his own character, but he just tries to like calm her worries. Just like, yeah, you know, he's like doing his business, but you know, it's whatever. Don't think about it. We got a good thing going. Everything's fine.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think that's Alberto's character, where he's like, I got a good thing going. My dad is probably doing some shady stuff. I don't care about his love life, who he's dating, whatever. I'm living off his money. I'm living good. To be honest, I couldn't complain either if I'm, you know, doing that stuff. But you know, that's Alberto's character. However, for Sophia, she's emotionally connected to like what her father could be doing, given what she saw with her mother being like hanged post-mortem.
It was also like painful because like I started getting like Succession flashbacks when he was like, you know, this could all be yours someday, and then later, you know, the one slip up was like, oh, you're not well.
I had big Succession / Game of Thrones / House of the Dragon vibes. Or the main purpose of House of the Dragon is like, oh yeah, I'll give my daughter the throne, but like I won't leave it in writing, and then you passes away before any of it happens. So it's like, did he mean that? Did it like you don't know? It's like that's a whole conflict. And that's the same thing here where it's like, oh yeah, I want you to be the, you know, head of the throne, basically. I want you to succeed me. Would you want that, Sophia? And she's like, oh my gosh, yes. She's like, because you know, Alberto doesn't give a shit. Like Alberto's just living his best life. He's Alberto. And I found that to be fascinating. Like, he did have faith in her as a leader, as a speaker, as a possible future of his empire. But in that same conversation, she can't let it go. Like, you know, this is after the initial conversation outside of the charity. And she's like, well, Dad, what happened? You know, I don't remember Mom being ill. He's like, well, she was a very proud woman. You know, I tried to give her help, but she was a very proud woman. She didn't see anybody? No, not really. But why are we talking about this? You know how it wounds me so. And she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to offend you.
I mean, yeah, she was. It was all very intense. You know, she was like, I don't remember her being depressed. Like, she hit it well, which is like, it's tough because you know, like, it wasn't the case, but at the same time, it's like, fuck, like, people who were depressed do hide it well.
Exactly, yeah. So it's like, that's a good excuse, especially for a child. Or she's grown now, but she can, her memory. Yeah, exactly. Childlike memories. And I just found it to be very fascinating. I was like, I just thought that back and forth between Mark and her was very well done. Mark had this great, like, you know, he had the glasses on the entire time, and just like not being able to see his eyes as he's doing all these like menacing stuff really added to his like intensity and his quiet intensity as he's just like really gaslighting her in a future conversation. But after this conversation, then she has the nighttime talk with the reporter. That's when the reporter gives her like the 4K evidence of like boom, 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 boom. Everybody had these strangulations from the rope, but they seem to be post-mortem, and there seem to be claws. They seem to have been fighting back. Like, what she's alluding to basically is saying these people were strangled, and then after they had died, they were hung up to make it look like they have been killed by submitting suicide. On top of that, the coroner reports, your father has the ability to, not rub things the wrong way, but just like scoot things aside. Be like, hey, this was the cause of death. Don't ask any more questions. Move on. Because again, his network, as we'll see later in the episode, it's massive. The scale of his influence is massive.
Yeah.
So and like you said, Nathan, she fights back here in this conversation. She says, like, after seeing all the photos, she's like, okay, no. Why are you showing me this in the first place? Why are you coming to me? And that's when the reporter admits, like, hey, maybe you could wear a wire. And Sophia's like, hell no. And that's just for any situation, guys. If somebody ever asks you, like, hey, can you wear a wire? No. Answer is always no. Not that anybody in our audience has ever had to do that, but it's just like, it's always very sus. I know. Draven, are you wearing a wire, Draven? Is that why you're on this podcast? Draven's just like a spy for Disney.
For Disney. He's part of the new test focus groups.
God, yes. I mean, honestly, hey, if he is, he's listening to us. Hey, we give good ideas, I think.
Tell him to renew that.
Exactly right.
But a big thing to also discuss before the whole stuff going sideways is like her relationship with Oz in the past.
Yes, yeah. I need to confirm nor deny. Okay, Draven, just take some notes, please.
Cash that check, baby.
Yeah, I think most audiences, I don't know about you, Nathan, I think they love happily ever afters. They love a lot of romance. I don't know. I'm just saying.
They like to watch them blossom and exist and
exactly
go on and have time to develop. It's amazing.
Yeah, second chances. Whoa, that's crazy. That's crazy.
3, 4 seasons, even. Oh man, binges you could have.
The binges you could have. I mean, that's what the audiences are saying. Not us,
Picture, if you will, you have a full slate of seasons of a show, and you can market. Oh yes, all seasons streaming exclusively right here.
Wow. I mean, that sounds blasphemous, but okay, go on.
Friends?
Seinfeld? Yeah, what is this? Early 2000s? Is that how TV works?
The Office?
Wow, okay.
We keep having bidding wars of who can stream it.
Right.
Anyhow.
So yeah, her Oz and Sophia, because I think that goes well where she has a conversation, she goes against it. She goes back in the car, and Oz is like, hey, maybe you shouldn't be talking to her. She immediately lashes out at Oz. Be quiet. You're not involved. You're not in the family. You don't know what I'm doing here.
Yeah, so this is an interesting thing. It's like at the start, it seems like they have like a really good friendship. It's like, I know being a driver sucks. You definitely deserve more. You deserve better. You deserve to rank up. Absolutely. Seeming like fair play, like everything's cool and chill. And it's like, oh, this is nice. Like Sophia, like legitimately cares about Oz. And then the stuff at night is like, no, shut up. You know what you're talking about. You're just my driver. And then it kind of gets even more terrible in a sense when she's like at the party before her dad goes to talk to her. She's at the party and Oz is going to inform her that her dad wants to see her, and she's just like, Oz, what are you doing inside? Like, that's not very nice. It's very dehumanizing.
No,
he's all dressed up looking nice. He feels snazzy. He's like, what are you doing in here? You belong outside.
And that's kind of her first clue, though. Like, hey, you're usually outside. You're usually by the door, waiting by the car. Because we know in Gotham, if you don't wait by the car, it can happen with Victor. The cops can come up behind you. And this is her first clue that because he's inside, the dynamic has shifted. Something has changed. What did Oz do to be granted inside the premises? She goes to talk to her dad, and she immediately finds out, oh, Oz snitched on me. That's why he has the privileges to be inside when he's usually outside. And this is her first clue in that, like, okay, I got to do some damage control here in this conversation. I got to reel things back. And her damage control is true. What she's saying to her father in this moment is true. She didn't say much to him, to the reporter. She fought back against the reporter, verbally. And she said she wasn't going to talk to her again. She declined to wear the wire. She declined to rat out her father. But It's the implication that is haunting her to Falcone here, where he just continues to say, like, we don't talk to the press. I trusted you. Why would you do this to me? And it just gets worse and worse here.
Yeah, and furthermore, and I will say, like, I like this episode does a wonderful job at like championing sympathy for Sophia and her character.
Big time.
The whole thing, even like to the end, of just like we're like rooting for her with like her actions by the end. But I will say the show is very well. It's doing a very well done job at making every character from every side be messy. Because granted, she was like a young person, but like at the time, like the disrespect toward Oz, like even like on the drive back home, so she thinks she's like kind of like berating him, like, why would you do it? You talk to me, like, who the fuck you think you're talking about? And then they get pulled over, and as soon as she starts getting like hit with charges, she's like begging Oz for help, like, you got to call somebody, you got to help me, like, and it's like that like privilege duality, right, of like talking down to the less. And granted, that's definitely like how she would have been raised in the higher society, but it's not great, but it also doesn't justify like the demonization that's to come either.
For sure. Oh God, no. I think a lot of this goes out of proportion for both characters, where like she was berating Oz initially that night, yeah, but then at the same time, I think she also still did care for Oz a little bit. And the same thing for Oz. I think he snitched on Sophia, but he just said, like, hey, your daughter's talking to the press. I believe that was it. I think we can insinuate that he didn't know about the whole police thing. Is that your thing as well? That you didn't know about, that he didn't know, or was he faking that as well?
Yeah, I don't think he knew anything past of like, hey, I informed you. I did update your dad about the meeting. That's all. And yeah, he shows, and I think it's even more like compelling, like when you go back to the end of episode 3, with Oz confessing, like, yeah, I know, like, I talked to your dad, and like that's what got you sent to Arkham, and I feel like shit about it. And like she was kind of like starting to reach like a level point, and after all the shit we watch in this episode of like what she went through for 10 fucking years, and she was able to reach that point of like, not total forgiveness, but like, I'm not gonna fucking kill you right now. Holy shit.
And I like how vulnerable she is at that later on in the episode, where she's like, I really didn't want to trust him, but I did. Like, she was slowly starting to trust him, even though everything in her heart, as she says, was telling her not to trust him, which we both knew. Like, that was the beauty of their relationship. They both knew not to trust one another, but they both had a compromise. They both knew, like, hey, but this bliss thing could work out for both of us. And they were managing to be vulnerable a little bit to each other until it all came crashing down with the Maronis. But yeah, here, it was just a sad conversation, because like, as he's just continuing to gaslight her, the father, he's continuing to say, he's man, you're really not well. You're really doing all this stuff. She's like, wait, what? Like, what are you talking about here? And it just spirals. And then of course she gets she gets arrested. Like Nathan and I said, we think Oz had nothing to do with that there. It just all spiraled out of control. It got just too much.
And that was like the big like holy shit moment too, right? It was like first she gets slapped with like the death of the reporter, which is like, what the fuck? The reporter that was alive last night?
Yeah.
Holy shit. And then like they start slapping every hanging victim, right? Like one after the other. And it's like, oh my fucking God. So like truly, she wasn't the one to do these murders. She got pinned, and now she's getting sent to Arkham. This is terrible.
This was terrible, and it was heartbreaking. I think we're getting the peak of her performance here, as she's just like the mounting evidence against her right in front of Alberto. It was so sad seeing him, like, Alberto seemed like the kind of like high kind of brother, but he was locked in. He was like, he's going through it. He's like,
what the fuck is going on? Like, because they're in the room, and it's like, not only is your father saying this, but like they got letter from every member of the family to like corroborate the story, say bullshit of like, oh, I torture small animals and shit. Like, what the fuck?
That would break me, dude. I would hate there. I love how she put an Arya Stark, get another Game of Thrones reference at the end of this episode, just like murdering everybody. And I'll be the same way. I will never forgive you, never forget. Y'all all ratted me out. Besides the little girl, she's cool. Y'all all ratted me out. Like, fuck all y'all. Because little girl probably wasn't even born yet.
No, not at all. But dude, I would have had a fucking panic attack to death at that point.
Dude, I would have passed out because I've been like 6 months in Arkham, hell on earth. 10 years? Fuck me.
Just kill me. Just
right? Yeah.
And that's a whole other thing is like she gets thrown in immediately, like on the day.
Yeah, on that day. And again, I talked about earlier the scale of Falcone's power here. He's in charge of like the judge, the DA, which is why there was like a new DA in the Batman 2022.
Probably the doctor himself who's giving mental updates.
Probably. Definitely, right? Dr. Ventress here in this episode. Dr. Ventress seems to be like the Hugo Strange, but not Hugo Strange of Arkham at this time, where he's just like full on having these guards don't do shit to Sophia, having these guards watch as somebody unchained beats up Sophia, letting her crumble mentally, just her mental deterioration while she's in this prison. It was just an awful, nightmarish experience. I also loved the direction of this prison sequence as well. It felt very dreary and dark. The colors got even darker and grimier.
Yeah. I don't got that orange glow of Gotham in here.
No, not at all. There's no light at all in here. Just like the whites on the walls. And it was just a very dreary tone and direction. I loved that. And again, it felt very nightmarish too. The way she was going in and out of consciousness with every major incident here, which is so creepy, dude.
It's so terrifying because she's fully aware that whether it's the evaluations and it's it doesn't matter what I say, everybody's made up your mind. There's nothing I could say. And to also just being in these different scenarios that are all orchestrated by Arkham itself to get her to fall into the characteristics of a killer so that they can present even more damning evidence of see, she was the kind of person to do this.
Yeah, it's just increasing her insanity to make her not fit for trial. Where 6 months passes, she talks to her brother and it's there is no more trial. You're unfit. Who signed this? Oh, your doctor. Dr. Ventress signed this.
And at that point, she's already broken. And so just hearing that news, she's just she can barely form words. She's just disconnected. She can't believe that.
It was wild watching this. Exactly. She can't believe it. She's out of body experience. She comes back and she straight up kills. Who did she kill? She killed Magpie, the person that was apparently eavesdropping on her by the coercion of Dr. Ventress in order to get more bliss, which is being passed out in the throughout Arkham. It's not in its crystallized state; it's more of a pill form instead of the crystallized as we see the drug.
Chewable,
yeah.
Which I don't know how confirmed that was. That's what Sophia came to a conclusion on her own to suspicion. Whether that is true or not, she takes her out anyway.
Yeah. So a major storyline throughout this whole prison sequence as well is that Julian Rush, again, shades from Luke Cage, the main doctor who had feelings for her, even as Sophia realized, hey, you had feelings for me when I was weak, when I was not very powerful. It's now that you've saved me, it's now you want something from me, kind of thing. He's a very interesting character. He seemed to be fully believing that she was insane, but then also believing that hey, he comes up and talks to Mr. Ventress, Dr. Ventress, hey, maybe she didn't do all
what
this
if she's telling the truth, and he's just hey, don't get confused, doctor.
Yeah, don't get confused. Don't say the truth. What is this truth stuff?
Careful, doctor.
I'm getting paid to not say shit, and neither should you. Basically.
He also ends up admitting not admitting, but laying it out that he ended up leaving on his own volition because he couldn't stand by this. And he also recognizes and apologizes that, like, yeah, he had the option to do that, she didn't, and it's an unfortunate situation, but he's here now. And I genuinely do believe he's a genuine person. I think he's genuinely here for her.
I was going to ask you that question. Sorry to interrupt. I was going to ask you, what do you think about his character? Because there still could be a mystery angle where he, as I mentioned with the drug stuff, he could be connected to how Sophia got access to the Bliss drug in the first place in order to mass produce it. Like, he was also one of the people from Arkham. He could have the resources there, but he also does genuinely seem to care for her. Now, it does, the way Sophia talks about it, and Sophia has a different interpretation of the relationship than he does, obviously. Mm-hmm. She seemed to think that he only cared for her because she was at a lesser state. She was weaker. Thus, he liked being in that. His romantic feelings for her might have grown when he had position of authority over her, when she was weak and just taking pills, all kind of stuff. And he still does care for her. She does call him, right? So I don't know really how to feel about his character. He seems genuine, but I could also see him flipping towards the end of the season. It wouldn't surprise me.
I would like there to just be like one light in the fucking mask.
I would hope, and maybe Sophia's just wrong about him per se.
I think she's right. She's rightfully apprehensive to everybody.
Yes, 100%.
After all this, and especially like I didn't realize how long she was in there. Like, because we heard like the 6 month time, and then 10 years. 10? Oh my god, 10? That's horrible.
Insane. I can't imagine.
Yeah, it's horrifying. But like at the point here, if you just like looking at the events of this episode with him, he's like, he came to pick her up when she called, gave her a fresh set of clothes, a shower, made breakfast, but not keeping her hostage, not even asking for anything. He's just there, he's just there.
Yeah. By the way, I do love it. One of my favorite cliches. Me and Dylan talked about this. One of our favorite tropes in TV and movies is where you go over a friend or ally's house and you're like in the wrong clothes, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I got a spare set of clothes over there," and it's like somehow like form fitting with you. I'm like, how do you know my bullshit? I like in this one where it's just like, oh, she's like straight up wearing his clothes. Like, yeah, they're hoodie, they're baggy, they're fully men's clothes. It's so funny in other TV movies, like, oh, I got a spare set of clothes, and just like perfect size, perfect wear, and just like, what bullshit? You don't have a spare set of clothes for this random person. But I liked it in here where she's just straight up wearing, like, this is obviously his spare clothes. It's kind of like he had girl clothes at his random apartment. It's like, that wouldn't make sense.
Right.
But anyways, it's just a very funny thing. Yeah, I wouldn't laugh too big either, knowing what she went through. Shit.
This is the scariest Arkham I've ever fucking seen, dude.
Yeah. But knowing just like how the guards aren't caring for, like, I'm killing people left and right if you come near me. Like, if the guards aren't going to do shit, I'm just going to kill people and give you bliss or whatever.
It was also really interesting, like at like her earliest days when like that one prisoner, she wasn't chained up at all and then attacked her. God, and then later they set them up kind of like in a gladiator style, gave her a fucking fork as a weapon. The doctor's there watching it. And then it gets even more like horrifying when you come to realize that the other prisoner that attacked her is like, she just wants her to end it. Like, yeah, kill me, do it, because I'm in some other way you don't even know or are presented. I am also being tortured.
I'm also a victim.
Yeah, and I just want to end. And then she takes herself out because she can't handle it anymore. And it's horrifying to witness all this. And then she goes into the fucking, and then after like all the fucking shit, she kills Magpie, sends her into continuous shock therapy over and over.
We didn't even talk about that. It was like she got shock therapy, basically lobotomized a little bit. It was very, very uncomfortable to watch there. Yeah, the whole shock therapy thing was just sickening to watch. Like,
she's like, and this isn't legit, but like she's like breaking down like the wallpaper of her cell to see like the wallpaper of her house where she found her mother in the past, all that situation. But then also waking up like from the nightmare, like imagining herself being the one that hung, probably getting to that mindset as well of being like in this constant torturous state and just wanting it to end. It's horrible.
And that's probably that's again where she got all those claw marks on her neck and her fingernails and those scars on her body from all her discomfort per se there. Exactly, right? It's like before the Riddler, before the Joker, this probably happened to them too. Right?
Probably, but at least they're already like not sane. I
Most
don't
of
know.
them aren't saying, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
none of it's condoned. It's just like
yeah,
a pure innocent person being subjected to all this and also molded into someone who has that disc. Because we saw him like she shot a kid in the face in
yeah,
like the first episode, um, but then you see this and it's just like how the fuck do you get from A to B? And you
yeah.
see why.
And I just thought about this now, but this just reminded me, given what Draven's saying about Arkham, what you're saying, it's like,
Mm.
and what the show is saying. Um, Matt Reeves was developing the Arkham series, and if this is a taste of what went on in Arkham in just one episode, where half the episode is all about like what's going on in this Arkham, I can't imagine an entire series of like life in Arkham. Man, now how grueling, how intensive that show could have been.
This this makes it especially interesting for the future of the story of Batman, because Batman at the core always legitimately wants to help those that he's fighting. Like, and the idea is like we send them to Arkham to get like the care and rehabilitation, but like if you I don't know like how the process will come to Bruce to find out what's happening in Arkham truly, but also the idea of like, because a big part of like the Batman mythos is like, oh, so and so villain has broken out of Arkham, time to go get him.
Yeah,
Imagine telling a story of a villain post breakout, and like the breaking down the idea of like you send all the people you fight to this place that doesn't help and just makes them worse, just takes away humanity.
I love that idea, dude, and that could be maybe why it got canceled. The Arkham TV series, maybe that's something that Matt Reeves just wants to develop on a cinematic scale.
Yeah.
Or James and Matt could reconfigure the series in another way. But either way, I think it's a very interesting, unsettling, fascinating world. Again, uncomfortable world that could be perfect for that is perfect for the Batman universe, and I would love to see explored more. Again, Bruce as a character is uncovering secrets of this past. He did it a little bit here in the first movie, 2022's Batman. We already know from the little bit of teases that Matt Reeves has said for Batman Part 2 is that it's going to be another mystery-centric storyline. I wouldn't mind it uncovering some truths about Arkham here, especially for a grounded world as this one. This seems to be as grounded yet inhumane as you can get. So I can't wait for that. But yeah, you alluded to earlier Sophia's past, and we didn't talk about her walking in on her mother's dead body. I got big Jojo Rabbit vibes. Have you seen that movie before, Jojo Rabbit?
Yeah.
When he spoiler alert when he
The
sees
shoes,
the shoes,
match cut.
it was very uncomfortable in that movie, and it's uncomfortable here as well. I can't imagine going in and just seeing a parent just hanged like that, and you could tell the way Mark Strong, Falcone, his hands were recently scarred. Like he probably choked her, hung her up, walked out of the room to wash his hands or something, comes back in. And he's like, "Oh, you saw? I just finished hanging her
Oh
up."
no! Oh, you fuck!
Yeah, he's like, "Oh shoot, don't watch." It's like you just finished killing her less than 5 minutes ago.
And like some comfort just like kind of like wants to see her father's eyes, her face, tries to take the glass off. He immediately wants to put him back on because he's probably like, scarred the fuck up.
Yeah, that was a great scene too. He just like it's great, like small physical characterization. Like, no, I can't show you the truth of my eyes. Like he could have been tearing up, he could have been scarred. Like, he could have just. He's like, yeah, and he did that in the movie too. He was always wearing shades in the movie as well.
Yeah, and all during the point of like she's playing hide and seek with Alberto, like the most like childhood innocence time, and then you just look up and it's like, oh my god, the world is over.
Yeah, her childhood ruined, scarred forever. And then when she wakes up in the future, I mean in the present, we talked about it. Julian Rush, of course, he's like doesn't know if she could trust him. Could he be genuine? We'll see what his character's looking like in the future. But and then the rest of the episode, long story short, la di do that day, she comes back and she talks about with Julian, like it's time for a new day, a new rebirth of her character. She's upset at Oz, of course. She's like, she knew she couldn't trust him. She goes in, and who else can't she trust? The people that did her in the first place, her own freaking blood, her own family. She has a great, she says, I'm not good at speeches, that she interrupts their family dinner. And she just talks about all the like what she's been through. And they're all just sitting there uncomfortable because she should have left for Sicily or Italy, whatever it was, which is very funny. Vidi's not happy that she's there. But then she, after the dinner, has a daughter, go to the greenhouse. They sleep there while she kills off the rest of the family overnight. Wow. Like, did you think that she was going to kill him during the dinner scene? I thought it was going to be during the dinner scene.
I really didn't know what the plan was. It was just kind of like, I could see like she was like laying out her piece, and it was like, okay, goddamn. I'm never thinking ahead. I would if I was in the mob, I would be out so fast.
Oh, I'm so gone. Yeah, right. I'm so gone. But yeah, they weren't, and they all died overnight because of the gas.
Yeah, that was interesting. I really didn't know what the situation. My thought was like, they're sneaking around and going out to the greenhouse. I'm not sure what the plan. If Sophia's just kind of like self-reflecting, but then when she's like, "I'll be right back," it's like, okay, well now she's about to go like crack some eggs, right? But then everybody's on the floor, and it's like, oh shit, what happened?
My main theory was at first Jalen was like, okay, it's the wine, but then immediately she sits down and has like wine, so it's like, okay, it's not the
biggest wine.
Yeah, she definitely is not the wine. But then later that night when she takes the girl to the greenhouse, I thought like a sequence would happen where she's like sleeping and you can hear gunshots, and maybe like that's what happened. Didn't happen. But then later that night, okay, oh, it's the gas cliche. It works. I love it.
It was also interesting that like just before that though, she had a scene where like she's smoking at a window, opens the window. That's Vidi's window.
Vidi's window.
Yeah, at the end because he's still alive. My God, somehow. And
the one guy.
Yeah, and they're gonna talk. I wonder what about.
She needs him, right? So she basically has just killed off all the. She killed off Luca for sure, which is the head of the family. She is now the head of the Falcone family. She's the last Falcone, at least in Gotham. Who's in Gotham? I assume there's other Falcones, obviously. But she's now head of the family in Gotham, and she needs people. Maroni, the Salvatore Maroni, is still in prison. The wife is still alive, as we saw in the first scene of the episode. She escaped. So the Maroni's going to be after them. We know some of the, what are they called? Chinatown, what are they called? Triads are still out there. She needs help. She's in a worse position now, but she's in the best position too. So best position within her family, but then she's in a risky spot where there's going to be a lot of cartels after them. She's going to need connections. Who did they use for connections last time? It was Vidi. Vidi had to be the one to clue in the triads to say, hey, the bliss thing is working. So Vidi is going to be here in whether he likes it or not. I assume he doesn't. So he's going to be working with her, reluctantly so. And she has some enemies. She wants to go after Oz, but she's going to have trouble on all sides. So Oz is going to have a bit of a buffer there before Sophia can exactly go straight for Oz. She's going to have other cartels to work against first. Help with the help of Vidi. But Oz, like you mentioned, you kind of burnt your bridge with Sophia last week and this week. So what's their dynamic going to be like? We're only halfway through the series, and I have no idea what's going to happen. It's very exciting.
Well, at this rate, there's a couple targets that could really hit home for Oz. Could be Vic. I don't want it to be.
Nope.
Or I think there's a high chance. Maybe his mom.
His mom, the girl who gave him the alibi that he's close with.
Possibly. I think that could hurt, but I think she really wants to sting Oz, right?
Yeah. So that's gonna be interesting. But again, how much is he gonna plan on attacking Oz and his close relationship?
Chuck doesn't know where he is right now.
Nah, yeah. We don't know where Oz is, right? We haven't seen him since last week. So
right.
We saw him just go in that car and dip. So I assume he's smart enough not to go to that penthouse where she knows that address.
Well, so, I mean, she was probably in a worse for wear state, so he's probably since they're already speeding along, they're probably going to hit up his penthouse and be like, "All right, kid, grab what you can."
And go. Exactly. Yeah. So in Vic, now we haven't seen Vic all episode. It wasn't his episode really, but he locked himself in with Oz's path, the path of being, in this risky world.
At no worse time.
At no worse time, exactly right. He's like, oh shit, now he's really in it. So what's his path going to be for the rest of the season? That's going to be fun to follow. End all be all, we know Oz is going to make it out. We know this is the origin of the Penguin, but I'm very invested in how Oz gets there. It's very exciting, very intense, very fun show so far.
Yeah.
And before we leave off today, there's a couple sequel announcements here that I want to run by you. Wild Robot sequel confirmed, and Ready or Not 2 confirmed. A lot of sequels getting confirmed over this past weekend. What you excited for both of them coming out?
Yeah, absolutely. Ready or Not was very fun. Wild Robot was a reflection on my soul.
peak fiction, peak animation.
I didn't realize the Wild Robot was like a trilogy of books.
I forgot. I knew it was a book. I didn't know it was a multiple books. But awesome.
I think the next book is called Wild Robot Escapes, which we know she's at the facility, so that would be fun.
Is that how it ended? She went back with the facility? Right?
Yeah, she returned back, and she's working in the fields, but Bright Bill finds her and they rekindle, like she remembers.
Yeah. So that's gonna be fun. That's gonna be exciting. So I can't wait to see that. And then Ready or Not 2 is interesting. Now, I figured they would explore this world again. Abigail seemingly in that same world as well. I really loved Abigail. That'd be a fun commentary as well.
Yeah. That'd be interesting because of just how insane the last couple minutes are of that movie.
True. Yeah, we're legit. People are vampires showing up. But yeah, Ready or Not, heads are exploding. It got really crazy. Is she going to find herself in another mansion? In the first one, she was a very passive character in the beginning where she was just, I'm getting married. And then it turns to a crazy like hunt. This time, I think it's going to be more active. Obviously, she's active towards the middle of that movie. But I think she's going to be more active and actively pursue this danger. Or maybe it could be a Scream scenario where it's just the danger finds her again. Somehow.
Maybe she's an expert now. It was like a Constantine type.
Yeah, but part of me was like hoping this could be an anthology, so like Ready or Not 2, a different scenario where a different group goes into a different mansion, but same. I don't mind them bringing back Samara Weaving if they have a good story for her. Samara Weaving, she's a very fantastic horror icon now, so
yeah,
bring it on. I'm so excited for that. And then for DreamWorks again, I loved Wild Robot, and they have been killing adaptations for a long time. How to Train Your Dragon, The Bad Guys.
Yeah.
They really know how to do these adaptations as of late, or for a very long time. Prince of Egypt is adaptation.
It is.
So
with the help of Spielberg, actually.
Yeah. So Shrek was original, right?
Shrek's original. There's fairy tale existing creatures, but Shrek himself, I think, is original.
Okay. I'm trying to think of other DreamWorks animated adaptations. How to Train a Dragon, Bad Guys, this one.
Would be it for adaptations.
I think that'd be it, unless I'm missing something from DreamWorks.
Because I don't think Madagascar is anything, or Kung Fu Panda.
I think Kung Fu Panda's original. I think so.
I think so.
Okay. But and then lastly, the day after our freaking episode last week, we talked about James Stewart, the other one, Stephen James being it. But nope, it went to Aaron Pierre, the guy from Rebel Ridge, among other things. He is now the official Jon Stewart of the DCU, and they looked into it, he does have a film contract in his deal, in contrast to Kyle Chandler, who only is set for the TV show. So we'll be seeing Aaron Pierre for a very long time as Jon Stewart, not the Daily Show Jon Stewart, but yeah,
yes,
as Jon Stewart. It's so crazy to me, Nathan. I looked up to this hero for so long. I talked about this a lot, but like, man, Just League Unlimited was my shit because of Jon Stewart. I wasn't a big Green Lantern fan growing up. Then I saw that show. I'm like, okay, maybe Green Lanterns are cool.
I wasn't like super well versed in DC. I mean, of the characters and like, the cartoons be airing, and like majority of the time, what Green Lantern am I seeing? I'm seeing John Stewart.
Yeah, but we haven't seen him in live action ever,
right?
Which is crazy, and now we finally are.
The world was just so scorned from that movie.
Yeah, they were so scared. I'm like, Jon Stewart was always the right move for this, and I'm so excited for James and crew to finally give him that adaptation that he deserves. I'm so excited for Aaron Pierre. He deserves it. He's having a great year with Rebel Ridge, and now this announcement. I think he's perfect for the character, and yeah, that's about it. We went through all the movie news, went through all the TV shows. 2 hours. I didn't think this was going to be a 2-hour episode, but we always shoot the shit.
A lot of Knull.
Yeah, we could have talked an hour about Knull, guys. We can continue doing it right now. We got any more Knull questions?
So you don't really know about Knull, right?
Not really.
I'm sure if you looked into it, you'd be like, oh my god.
Again, I think reading all about like the Spider-Verse storyline. He wasn't in the Spider-Verse. That was somebody else. That was like the vampire people, right? In the Spider-Verse.
That was Morlun, yeah.
Morlun, yeah.
Well, I would have expected for a multiversal threat.
Yeah.
Maybe they got scared after Morbius to do vampires.
And Morlun wasn't really that fun of a villain. Like, you don't read the Spider-Verse comic event for Morlun. He's just a
Victorian guy who eats spider people.
Yeah, it's a pretty shitty villain. It's like you come there to see Gwen interact with like Peter and all that kind of stuff. But Draven, would you have wanted that? Because they're gonna make.
Are you talking about Diggle?
Yeah. They were gonna make Diggle John Stewart. Like, fuck off. That wasn't gonna be not you, Draven, but that wasn't gonna be John Stewart. That was weird. But that universe was always scared to go full Green Lantern for some reason. I don't know why. They didn't just commit to it. But yeah. That's what were we talking about? Oh yeah, Knull kind of stuff. But Morlun. But yeah, I didn't read the King in Black storyline, which is again the Knull storyline. I didn't read that.
That's some intense stuff. You remember Gord the God Butcher?
I read some of that. That was fun. That was a great villain.
His sword comes from Knull and the symbiotes, the Necro sword.
Maybe that's how I remember the little bit of Knull. Because otherwise, I'm just like, I don't remember much about Knull.
Interesting thing, which when I heard it and I was like, that's odd, but then I'm like looking at it again and I'm like, it's kind of cool for like lore reasons. Is like a Knull has the like fucking like the Venom-esque logo. And you may think like, well, how the fuck is that possible? He didn't bond with the Spider-Man suit. It's because like it's actually like not a spider, it's a fucking dragon. Like a symbiote dragon emblem, and it's like that's kind of interesting.
Really cool.
And I guess like the retroactive idea of like the symbiote bonding with the Spider-Man suit is like making like a spider version of that logo because there's a bit like of a longer tail on Knull. Yeah.
So okay, that's about it. I think you guys can find me. I think at Harris EV9. Big Brother. I know. It's a stick, Nathan. I have to keep it going.
You can only do it on commentaries. That's the only place I take it away. Lord giveth, and did I call myself a Lord?
Nathan giveth and taketh away. Speaking of commentaries, we'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow work for you? For Cabin in the Woods, which is exciting. It was one of my favorite horror movies. I haven't talked about it. I haven't seen it in quite some time. Very fun experience. So we'll be back to do a commentary on Cabin in the Woods. So if you want to rent that now, prepare yourselves for tomorrow. That'd be great if you're still watching and listening to this. Otherwise, on Twitter, Harris EV9. Big Brother 26 has ended. 90-day season finally over. I could finally catch up on more TV, more manga, more books, more movies. Watch Lucifer, exactly. That's what I'm doing. But I'm at 67 movies as of this weekend. I need to get to 100. It is the middle of October. I think I can do it. I might be doing on non-podcast days, at least trying to do a movie a day.
Movies for this year?
Yeah, 2024 movies. Trying to get to 100. Edgar's already at like 80, 90, motherfucker. Anyways, I'm trying to get there. I think I can get there. I usually do at least like 12 movies a month, so I'll get close, guys. And especially over break, I can just binge some stuff a day. But anyways, that's my main goal for the rest of the year. Just try and catch up to 100 movies, catch up on any TV shows I missed. I want to start this show called like The Sympathizer with Park Chan-wook on HBO Max. Dark Matter apparently was very fun on Apple TV.
Did you see the new Abbott?
I have not seen the new Abbott yet. I got started Abbott season 4.
I'm not gonna say anything, but like they almost pissed me off.
Oh, okay. Oh no.
No, it's all right.
Okay, I gotta watch that this week as well. I'll probably start that tomorrow. That's a Wednesday show, right?
I think so.
The Wednesdays are always so busy for me because it's Survivor. And I started watching this show called The Summit on CBS, hosted by Manu Bennett. And he's from Arrow. And it's a fun show. It's like a social strategy, but they're climbing up a mountain. It's like peak crazy reality TV. And episode 2, they killed a man. I'm not gonna say anything more, but they dropped this guy from a bridge. It was pretty insane.
We're finally at that level of reality TV where murder is legit.
100%. So if you're like, whoa, Evan, that sounds awesome. Yeah, go watch The Summit. It's pretty fun. Anyways, I'm watching that, and I'm also watching a lot of other TV shows and anime. Also, there's an anime on Netflix called Orb. Orb, the Center of the Universe, I think is the subtitle. Fantastic. Episode 3 broke me. I was shocked. It's a historical fiction about heliocentrism. That hey, maybe the Earth is not the center of the universe. Maybe it is the sun, and how blasphemous that was. And it's this child discovering heliocentrism. Maybe the Earth follows the sun, but then there's danger because there's this assassin from the church killing people, whoever even deigns to say anything against the church, right? And it's really good. It's visually impressive. It's the studio is Madhouse, who made one of my favorite anime of all time, Hunter x Hunter.
Nice.
And or Hunter x Hunter. So anyways, that's my life. So there's a lot of great Netflix anime this year. They have Blue Box, Orb, and Don to Don, which is very popular already. So
Nice.
Anyways, Nathan, what are you up to, buddy?
I'm making you can follow me at _TimeBlazer. We're making a show called TimeBlazer with co-starring creative consultant Evan Harris.
Playing a character called Ben, who also I don't think would be a big fan of Knull. I don't think we up his alley.
Morally, probably not. Lore-wise, I don't know. You might like it.
He might like the comic, maybe more than me.
He likes anime. You're like that. You and him, you and Killmonger in a lot of ways similar because you like anime.
What? Wow.
I was rewatching the fucking What If episode. Killmonger saves Tony, and he's just like, I like anime because he's building a Gundam. And that just is Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, big Michael B. Jordan energy. Yeah, it's just ad-libbed.
Good stuff. But yeah, with that being said, if you guys enjoy this, hit the like button, subscribe not right, ring the bell so you miss all future movie news and television. That being said, we have a great day. Catch you guys next time.